Live.
It says live, so I think we're live. What's going on, man?
I've had a fun weekend, man. I went shooting yesterday, which was fun. And then I went to shooting the weekend before, so I've been like kind of picking that up again,
Okay.
which is good. I was kind of like, like John Wicken with my red dot sight Glocks. It was pretty cool. Hit clink and steel. Everybody's
Right.
whoa.
I have been thinking of going shooting again. I actually was looking at maybe buying a new toy. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do some stuff here soon also.
I
It's
just
been a
don't
minute.
know, because I am passionate about that stuff, like being a prior military guy. And I come from a lineage of veterans.
Right.
Like, guns have been like in front of me since I was a little kid. Like, I grew up like my dad. So,
Right.
but the problem is that YouTube's, rules regarding those types of items kind of are challenging. So
Right.
I'm even trying to be like careful in the words that I say in this video for
Right.
that reason.
Yep.
So, but it's too bad because I have some. I think I'm just gonna go for it. I know those videos get restricted, but I don't want to get like marked, or you get a strike or whatever.
Right.
Like,
Restricted is one thing, getting banned is a totally different thing.
yeah, so I'm trying to figure out like what gets you banned versus in firearms, and I think it's showing how to put them together. But then
I don't know.
there's so many of those videos that still
Right?
exist and stuff, and so I don't know. Like I actually like had a Glock series where I was building my 19, and the last part was installing the red dot. And then eventually I just put it on without recording it because I thought to myself, well, I don't want to take a risk. Maybe I'll just do a video of the Glock 19 finished, which it is,
Right.
by the way. Well, I still have one more thing. I still need to do, like, I want to send out the frame to get like a higher up grip. Um,
Okay.
and then like some stippling and stuff. But
Right.
and the Glock 19, I want to do that too. But that baby, man, the 19. Actually, I want to say the 17 shoots better for me. And I went like I think I like put like about 500 rounds yesterday, and I got a little bit of Glock thumb going on, from the
Okay.
recoil going right here.
And how and that's with the red dot now, yeah?
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
I've never shot with a red dot. Was it different for you? Was it easy? And hey, for everybody that's in the comments, welcome. And we are waiting for Robert Carter. Like he's a little delayed. We're not sure. We talked to him yesterday.
He
I'm
seemed excited
sure.
to come on, and maybe lost track of time. I sent him the
Yeah.
link, so we're just gonna talk about random shit like
And
we
hope
used
he shows
to.
up. And we've got some
And we'll
acquisitions
switch
to talk
gears if he shows up.
about,
Yep.
some, gun stuff. Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
if you got questions, post them out in the comments. This is kind of open mic night ish right now to
Yeah.
see if Robert's going to join us or not. Something might have come up. We don't know. So, but if you came just to see Robert, don't leave. He might still be here. We don't know.
Yeah. And
Wasn't clickbait.
we're almost just as good looking. He's muscular though. Have you seen Robert? Like
Yeah, he's pretty.
he's
He's pretty
he's a
buffed up.
sausage. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But as I was saying, like,
Yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
like that's my only resort. What's the word I'm looking for? That's my only like kind of hold back to doing more firearm videos.
Right.
Because I have the Mini 14, dude. I still
Oh
have
yeah.
all
Yeah.
the footage of putting that thing together, and that thing is sweet, man.
The
I don't know.
NCC BBM2, it's small. Like for me, it's small. I've done videos on a couple of them. That's when I met Robert. Actually, somebody sent me one, and I think he saw the video and reached out, or I reached out to him with a question and stuff. That was maybe a couple of years ago when I did that, and that's when I first started talking to Robert Carter. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, he is cool, man. I've been talking to Robert. So I got into Robert Carter knives because of a collector that I kind of talked to frequently, who was kind of like a high-end collector, and he had a lot of Robert Carter knives. And what I found like kind of unusual about them is he did that really low layer titanium Damascus, which is the Robtanium, right?
The Robtanium.
And dude, I just like, I love low layer stuff. Like that is my jam. I know it's cool to have like high layer count, but I think low layer just presents more. I don't know. That's just me.
I agree. And Luck, you're not wrong. Alex and I both live in California. Luck Knives lives in Utah. My best friend lives in Utah. My other good friend lives in Utah. And I have a lot of friends that live in Utah. And yeah, so if you are in Utah, anybody that's in Utah, next weekend, I know it's Blade Show, Texas, but if you're not going to Blade Show, Texas, and you live in Utah, go to Vernal, Utah, and see Luck Knives at the gun and knife show, or the whatever it is. There's a gun show, and Luck has a table there with Rugged Mountain blades.
Oh, so nice.
If you're not going to Blade, Texas, and you live in Utah, anywhere near Vernal, it's about a couple hours outside of Salt Lake area, if I remember. Go check it out. Vernal is beautiful. I was wheeling there last year. It was amazing. Love that place. I love Moab also, which is where I usually wheeled a lot. But Vernal was a very nice change of pace for us.
Very nice. Very nice.
Just a little shout out there, Luck.
So back to what we were talking about, because I'm not done yet, man.
Sorry, no, go ahead. Just want to kind of keep people coming.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, we've got the Guinness today.
Oh, jeez. You fancy.
Yeah. It's nitro, like, infused with, like, a little ball, so you just flip it upside down. And it doesn't
I think I saw something on that.
Yeah.
New Zealand in the house. Welcome, sir.
Look how nice that looks, man.
For sure. And also the step mill blade gets the jorts to tighten up. Yeah, I do like the blade on the BBM too. It is cool. So, what kind of firearm were you thinking about getting, Dirk? I am curious now because I don't know. I started looking at some Glock stuff. I started looking at some staccato stuff. I started looking at what I'm looking for is a new carry that's like 9mm. So, like, I looked at the Glock 43, 48. MOS, not that I know the difference about any of those. I've looked at some Kimber stuff, kind of a compact 9mm. So I haven't shot a Glock in a long time, and I didn't really like it when I did, but they seem to be the popular thing to get. So I need to shoot a couple again and just see how I like them now. Well, the thing about Glocks is that, so ironically enough, me being a Glock guy, held some SIGs at the gun store the other day. Oh, I am a big fan of SIG. When I was living in LA, I carried a SIG for a while. Specifically, the P365 macro. It's kind of like the smaller, like, slide. It's a 9mm. It's like a smaller kind of like upper, but it's a full-size grip. Right. And for me, that seemed like kind of an ideal type carry knife. But, you know, everybody likes the iconic 226 and all those other things. Like, I have been looking at 6. I'm not getting rid of my Glocks by any means. Right. It would just be something to add on, because all these years I've kind of like looked away from
SIGs because Glock's given me kind of everything I really need. To
Right.
be
I'll have to
honest.
look up the M18, Nick. I'm not sure which one that is, but I do like SIG in general. So I don't know. I got to go to like the next gun show. Normally, when I go to the gun shows here in town, I go see my friends that have knife tables, and I just kind of glance at all the gun stuff. So the next time they have one, they have them every couple of months down here.
Oh yeah, that's a good recommendation
I'll
actually.
just go and really focus on the gun stuff and handle some more stuff.
Yeah,
Now, what's the
check
difference between the 19 and the 19X?
the 19X is kind of like their updated one. It's also like got
Similar size.
well, it's a Glock 19, but it's got a few little extras on it. It's got
Okay.
red dot ready, so you just can put one on.
Oh,
Otherwise,
gotcha. Okay.
you need to buy like I did. I bought factory Glocks, and then I had to buy custom slides
Slides.
that
Oh,
had
okay.
the cutout and
The
the
rail
bolt
stuff.
to
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
put the red dot on. And then as my like all American gun, because I do have to have one of those. I have a Springfield 1911. So, everybody loves a 45.
Yeah.
That's not a gun I would carry though.
No, I
And when
always
you
thought I
said
would carry a
staccato,
45, and I did carry a 45 for a while down in it when I lived in LA also, but it's just, it's a little much.
and if you say staccato, that's like the same kind of size carry as a 1911. It's got a similar blueprint.
Yeah. Luck has a 19 also, and I've heard of good things about the
Yes.
Springfield Echelon also. I don't know much about it, but I've heard other people talk good things about it.
Yeah, the echelon's cool. It's kind of modular. You can like I think you can it's the one where you can change like the lower like to like different sizes and
Okay.
just keep the upper like it's some sort of modular thing if I remember right. I'm sure Luck can correct me.
Got it. Okay. Well, Luck can fill us in next week after his gun show debut because he'll sell out of his knives in like the first hour, and then he can walk around the show and look at all the stuff for us.
Nice.
Although everything that's going to be at the Utah show isn't legal, it's not on the roster in California because California's special, and we have a menu of firearms that you can only buy. So if it's not on the menu, you can't own it here in California.
But I will say like
Stupid.
it's not as bad as like people say.
Right.
Like we could still have a lot of damn cool guns. Speaking of Wesson 500s, like when I went to the gun range yesterday, I came home for at least 3.5 hours. I was more deaf on this side because two dudes had two of those things,
Oh,
and they had like some other bear gun. Dude, it like even with ear protection, like it blasted my ear pretty good.
yep.
Those things are
Those are
cool.
just, I mean, they're cool, but they're ridiculous.
Yeah, but why not, man?
But why not? If you can, why not? Like, I mean, come on, who am I talking? I have the freaking 6-inch instigator knife, like with a 6-inch blade. It's cool, but not really practical, right? So I get it. In the knife
I
world,
don't
I
know.
own a lot of impractical knives because they're cool. So I get it.
Yep. But
And speaking of cool stuff, you've got some cool stuff coming in.
yeah, I actually did get some cool stuff. I got well for many years. It's kind of almost like a grail. Remember we were having that episode a couple weeks back or before that, whichever. We talked
Yep.
about grails.
Yep.
And then like so along with some of those makers back then, Ian from CMF Metalworks was also another one that was there with like tough knives, which he learned some stuff from.
Yep.
And then kind of went on his own. They were like doing really like this kind of like art knife thing, you know. And I have owned like a custom from Jeff Blauvelt, a tough, and it was super cool, but it didn't cut anything. Like it had no edge on it. And like a knife that was like above, I think it was like 16 or $1,700. I didn't feel like I wanted to put an edge on it. Plus, the knife was really like wide and like fat
Right.
because of the way like he kind of made like this artistic knife. What was cool is the spidey hole in it had a ring of Timascus in it, which was really neat.
Oh, that's cool.
That was super cool.
Speaking of Timascus, Lux says Dirk's going to get a Timascus framed Desert Eagle. What's
yeah.
funny about that is I know a guy who I'm friends with who is actually making Timascus frames for eyeglasses.
Oh yeah.
Like it's one piece of Timascus for the eyeglass part. It's three pieces of Timascus basically, and all polished and blued. Like they're pricey because he's doing them all by hand. It's crazy taking long time, but I don't know. I might end up with a pair of Timascus glasses at some point. I don't know. That's a big chunk of change. I'm not going to lie, but could you imagine a Timascus framed Desert Eagle? Holy moly.
I wouldn't doubt that somebody makes something like that, but
I'm sure
I do love that gun,
yeah.
by the way. I actually, the one that I wanted more than a Desert Eagle was the Baby Eagle, which was a 9mm pistol.
Yeah.
It was still when they were making guns in Israel. I don't think Magnum Research is manufacturing out there anymore now.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But yeah, that was a really cool pistol, and it was like on the roster, then it fell off, and it was like now it's been off, and they're out there in California, but if you find one, they're expensive.
Yeah. Okay,
Anyways,
so back to Ian.
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 Yes, Ian. So anyways, back to Ian. Sorry, I was thinking about my beer. I was looking at it right now. Anyways, so back to Ian is one of the early knives that I really wanted. He made what's called a Mistress R, and like he still makes the Mistress R, but it's a V2 right now. But back in the day, it looked like this crazy like Tonto sword of an edge at the end, and it was sculpted in a certain way where it had some crazy hollow grinds. And he would do like Timascus frames with these things with Westy on top.
Right.
And like he made this specific one that was an auction knife when I was really early on in my collecting. And it just like knocked my socks off. I'm like, I want a knife from that guy one day. So years later, maybe like 2018 or 2017, somewhere around there, me and Ian met up at a knife show. And then after the knife show, because we had like a mutual friend, we went and double dated. Like me and my wife and Ian and his wife went out to like dinner before they flew back to Pennsylvania. And then we talked for a while. And then I just told him like, like how I really love the sculpting of his knives. We talked about his knives for a while and other people's knives.
Right.
And then that's the time where he offered me a build. He's like, well, if you love the knives, he's like, I'd love to build you something. So he's like, I'll reach out after, some point where I get rid of, whatever lists or whatnot.
Right.
And then for the last few years, like him and I kind of like flirted with the idea of making a knife. I'd say for the last 2 years, we've been talking about it. And then finally, he said he was ready, I think like 2 months ago. He's like, all right, let's do it. So I had to wait a little bit because it was a big chunk of money.
Right.
But I sent him the money already, and the knife is like probably like 50% finished. And it's pretty sweet. And what's cool is the Mistress RV2 only exists because I inspired him to remake a V2 version of that model. So what's cool is it's going to be a fancy version.
Yeah.
You saw the picture I sent you. There's a really cool twist in like kind of like an eye inside the Damascus. But I think he said he wanted to re-etch it a little darker. So, but yeah, I have that coming. And
And sometimes that's how it works, right? You just talk to somebody over dinner, and then a few years later, it happens. Like
yep.
that's just it's. You just got to talk to the makers, like me and Ed Kim at Red Horse Knife Works. We've been talking about the final Hellraiser build for I don't know, probably 3 years, and it's kind of in the process right now. It's kind of delayed, but it's in the process. Like that's a different story,
Yep.
but yeah, don't bug the maker every week. Don't do that. But reach out every so often.
Well,
And
at
say
first,
hi. How's the deal going? If you see them at a show, shake their hand and just chat with them for a little bit. And like that's how good things come, is building that relationship.
at first, like I was a fan of Ian's work, like for like maybe 4 or 5 years prior to that. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're talking like 2019, 2020 is when him and I finally started talking. So
Right.
all that time, just like you mentioned, I did not like feel like I was going to reach out because the Facebook groups thing wasn't quite like a thing early on, and whatnot.
Right.
So it's a little bit of a different thing. And I never did. The only reason why it ended up becoming a thing is because my buddy Russell, that like carries all
Uh-huh.
those Black Snow customs and all that, he's good friends with Ian. He has a bunch of Ian's knives too.
Right.
So when we went to the show, I actually met up with Ian and Russell. And then we just started hanging out, and everybody thought, we're all cool and had a good time and, talking knives and stuff. And then lo and behold, now I got a very cool knife coming from a maker that I've been wanting for more than 10 years. So
That's
it's
how it
kind of
works, guys. It takes time. And then there's the other times where you're talking to a maker or whatever, and they're like, dude, you want something right now? I got a spot. I just finished something. I could squeeze you in. I've had that happen
yep.
too.
I have
So
had that happen too.
that's how it happened with Phil Harvey and the Peacemaker. I've been talking to him and stuff. And all of a sudden he hit me up. He goes, hey, dude, I just finished one. If you want one, I'm making another one right now anyway. I'll let you have it if you want it. Like, dude, yeah, sure. And I think about a month or so later, he shipped it to me from across the pond because he's over in England.
That's right. That's
So
right.
yeah, just it's all about timing and building a relationship.
You know
Same with
why
watch.
he makes such a big knife, don't you? It's
Because
because they're not allowed to have firearms out there.
yeah. So now you can just throw the thing at somebody too. Doesn't
He's
even
like,
need to be
my
sharp.
knife,
It weighs
there's
2+
nobody
pounds.
coming in.
So
He's like, there's nobody coming in this house with a bigger knife than this. Like,
right. Yeah, it's pretty crazy
yeah.
for sure.
What have you been carrying these last few days?
I've still
Or
been
few
rocking
weeks?
the Rockstead for the
Very
most
cool.
part. Yeah, trying to break it in like yours, but not quite there. But it might get there, it might not. But yeah, it's super cool. I've used it, opening some boxes and stuff. It's crazy cool, super sharp. It's a little tough to get all the tape and crap off of it later, but it takes a few minutes to get it cleaned up when you're done. But it works well. Super
But
cool knife.
it carries good. It's a little bit chunky in the hand, I think, which
Yeah,
is
maybe a
nice.
little.
I like the chunkiness of it. It's got the dual thumb studs, so
Mm-hmm.
can Spidey flick it, which I know Dirk loves to do with his knives.
No.
You know, I mean it and it's good looking. It's
It's
got
a good
some
looking
nice stuff.
knife. It doesn't scare people because it's not overly big. It's like normal size. Um, so you can pull it out anywhere you need to if you're in like an office and you need to open something. Like, it's just a lot of the stuff I normally would carry, like the battles and things like that are much bigger and have crazy shaped blades. They're
Yep.
kind of scary and people are like, oh my gosh, so like
Yeah, that's part of like a factor that I think of like when I take a knife and carry it. As a matter of fact, like I kind of brought out like a couple of the knives that I've been carrying the last few days, or a few weeks, which is only
Mhm.
three because I've been
Yeah.
carrying that Rockstead a lot. And then I've been carrying this
Oh yeah.
Curtis F3 a lot.
Hmm.
It's kind of like the old school ones, but it's the ones that I like,
Right.
and I also been carrying this custom ProTech thing, the Malibu.
Oh
I've
yeah.
been,
Okay.
yeah, and kind of like with this is probably as big as I want to like take to the office. If it was like a office place that
Yeah.
I don't know, you know. And the ProTech kind of looks a little bit more friendly, even because it looks kind of fancy. It looks more like an art
Agreed.
knife. This is a little more tactical-ish, a little bit
Yeah, maybe a little
colorful.
bit. Yeah, I get that.
Uh, so
Nick,
yeah,
Nick, Nick has a good question here, and this is for everybody. So, if you lived in a country that forbids you carrying a knife, would you still collect? And this hits home for Nick because he lives in New Zealand. And in New Zealand, you're not allowed to carry a knife. Same with my other friend Mike, Aussie Mike, who lives in Australia, where you're not allowed to carry a knife in cities, right? If you live out in the middle of nowhere, out in the backcountry, Crocodile Dundee, you can carry a knife out there. But for Nick in town and Mike also in town in Australia, they have huge knife collections that they never get to carry. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that? If you couldn't carry ever, would you be into knives as much as we are today? I don't know. For
you
me, I
know
can't. I'm not sure I can answer that.
when you ask that question, the first person I think of is Aussie Mike because Aussie Mike has invested. His collection is insane. And I can say that because I've been watching your
Yep.
channel. I've seen the amount of knives that he sent you and what they are. And I know how much they cost most of the time.
Yep.
And he doesn't have like he's not a plain Jane taste kind of guy. Like he likes
No.
fancy stuff.
He
And he's
must
been sending
have.
them by like the truckload, man. The
Yes.
truckload. Like
Now he
Dirk
has
will
slowed
have like
down.
what's slowed down, man?
He hasn't been buying knives lately because he's
As
like
of
kind of
in like when's the last time you had a box from him?
probably a year.
A year? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that
Um,
makes sense because he probably has two of these boxes or more himself.
he must have 300 to 500 knives. I'm just
I
guessing
think
here.
more, no, he has way more than that, man.
And
Way more than that.
a lot of the knives that he sent me were in that $3,000 to $6,000 range. Now, not all of his knives are, because he sent me some that were in the sub 1,000 range, also 500 range. But there were at least 10 in that 3 to 5,000 range that I can think of just off the top of my head, right? So he's not buying cheap stuff,
No, no,
and
not
he's
at all.
buying really high end, expensive stuff. A lot of autos, a lot of custom autos out the front, and literally they come to his house, and he's got Pelican case after Pelican case after Pelican case, and they go into Pelican cases.
Well,
And he
that's what's crazy about like there's those collectors that have like the glass displays. Like
yep,
when you have a knife collection, like a lot of knives, you can't really do that. Like you have too
no,
many for that. So I would not collect like he does. I would collect not like I do either.
right.
I would probably have like maybe like 15 to 20 knives.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think about it like for me, I would probably be similar, right? Because Alex and I live in California, and guns are a little bit different here in California. Okay, right, wrong, or indifferent. It just is what it is. We're not gonna. talk to like the politics of it. But so I mean, I have some. I've got several. I've got guns, but I'm not into them like I am with knives, because knives are easier to get. They're easier to carry. I can go and use my knives all the time. I don't have to go drive somewhere. Like, it's just easier. So I collect knives. If I lived in Utah, where guns are easier, I would probably shift and have a lot more of those and do a lot more of that stuff. So if I was in a country that outlawed knives, I would probably own a few, because I like them and I appreciate them, and I'm kind of a collector guy. But I don't know that I would have the 60, 70 that I have now, 80 now, so whatever the number is, I don't know. I don't think I'd have them. And I probably would not have the money that I have in them either. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, because it's like I like to carry everything that I have in this box. I have carried at some point in time, and rotate and do carry. And to have a box of knives that I can't carry, or if I was going to carry a knife, I would make it like, let's say like you can't carry knives, right? I would probably, if I wanted to carry something to somewhere where I'm going, it would probably be something that is non-locking, right? Because that's the least intrusive. Something with a very small blade that doesn't look like it could penetrate anything.
Yep.
Right? Like, I don't know. Like, I might get a custom something and just spend a lot of money on a miniature knife just because I'm in that kind of a scenario. You know, so
I mean, and yeah, to that point, like I carry all my knives too. I don't really carry the Peacemaker that often. I have carried it at knife shows, but like I also want a samurai sword, like a legit, not the Amazon one, but like a legit $5,000, $7,000, $8,000 samurai sword, like the long one and the small one, right? That I'm never going to carry. I know I'm never going to carry it, but I want one. So even if I was in a place where I couldn't carry a knife, I would, it's the same premise, right? I can't carry a samurai sword, but I really kind of want a set to hang above the fireplace, or, whatever, right? Just to have. So yeah, I would still collect some knives, but not to the extent that I do now if I lived in a permissive
That's
area.
an interesting question, actually. That was a good one. And you guys,
and we didn't have very many people in the chat comment about it. Bradford said he would, but that was about the only person that answered the question. But okay, whatever. You guys are just watching on your TV with no ability to make comments. Is that it? I don't know. Because you can't comment from the TV. I've learned that.
So another cool thing I got coming is a custom flashlight. I think I might have. As of right now, this is the most expensive flashlight I have, which is $330, which is a very good flashlight, by the way.
Super cool flashlight.
Yes.
I really, really like that flashlight.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I like it too, because a lot of times we buy stuff thinking about resale, right? Like, if I don't like this, I could package this thing up, keep it nice, it'll be like new.
And you can ship it to me and we'll take care of it.
Right. But once in a while, ordering like something that's custom, like so custom that to you that you probably will never sell it, is this flashlight I got. Because I made it to resemble our mascot, Max, which is in the room, but he's sleeping nicely, and I don't want to disturb the monster.
Don't disturb the monster.
No, man, a monster he is. But so what it is it's a fully Cerakoted custom flashlight from Yellow Data Energy, and it was kind of interesting because at first, I have seen what Chris has done with his flashlights and stuff, and I kind of wanted to give him his like creative freedom and say, here's what I want to do. And I literally said, hey, Chris, all I want to do is I have an idea for a custom flashlight, because when he came on our show, we said like, hey, like I said, okay, I'm gonna order one. So anyways, I said I thought about it for months, because I
Hmm.
think it was like a good 4 more months
Yeah.
since we had interviewed him, and I came up with this idea. I said, hey, how about we make, like, when would I use a flashlight the most? It's when I go out on walks with my dog,
Yep.
because usually I go on walks late, which is like 7:30, 8 o'clock. It's kind of dark already out. So for me, that would be the ideal time to carry a flashlight. And
Right.
and so what am I doing at that time of night? I'm walking my dog. So I wanted the thing to look like my dog. As cheesy as that sounds, I said, hey, I got this Australian cattle dog. And this was super cool for Chris too, because Chris is also a huge dog guy. He's got 3 dogs, I think. 3 or 4, I can't remember.
Three little
Three.
like three little yappy dogs.
Yeah, he's got like a Pomeranian and like a Chihuahua, something like that. So he's got 3 of
Yeah.
those small ones, right? And then my dog, like, if it's a Doberman, you could make the flashlight black and brown and call it a day. And
Right.
then, but Max is kind of weird because he's got jet black fur on top of white fur, which is
Hmm.
kind of, you know, why they call them blue healers.
Right.
So I gave him the creative expression to just flat out go ahead and, here's a picture of my dog. I want the 2 spots on it, like put 2 spots on this thing somewhere. And then my idea was like black and white. So he said, okay, I could Cerakote the thing black and I can overlay it with white. And then I could do like some other stuff, like with some brown. I'm like, all right, man, you have like full creative, like freedom, do your thing.
Yeah.
So maybe 4 weeks later, we get to the project. I sent him the money for the thing, and then he gets started. And then when it gets finished, like a couple weeks after it gets started, it looks nice, but it looked like a white flashlight with little brown spots on it
Right.
and very tiny little black like fade marks on it. And
Oh,
I
okay.
said, and so he's like, what do you think? And I said, it looks good, but it doesn't look like my dog. And I felt bad saying that because Chris is really good at his creative stuff, like the splashes of colors and
Right.
stuff. Like, he's really good at it. And him and I talked a lot about it prior, kind of like, and I had told him black over white, kind of like hinting to him, but that kind of didn't come through the same.
Right.
So after we got it through, I said, here's what I want, since I'm going to be more specific if you're
Yeah.
asking me. And then so I sent him like a black and white splat pattern. And I told him, make the ring around the front like brown, because that's the head of the flashlight, like the brown face of the dog, and make the black spots more dramatic. Like the spots are dramatic on the dog, like they're pretty large. So kind of like that will kind of tie the whole thing together. And now that it's all finished, you know, I think that's exactly like what ended up coming out is exactly kind of what I envisioned it to be.
Yeah. I think
And
he
you
nailed
saw it.
it.
And the red clip, right? Like that
Yep.
was his thing. And he put my dog's official name is Mad Max because he's named after the movie, because that was the idea for the dog. And he put that inside the clip. So there was
Nice.
his initials in there, and he made the clip red. He sent me a red button, a black button, and a glow in the dark button too. So
Sweet.
that's all in there. And then he put a red glow gasket on the head of it. So
Nice.
that kind of tied it all together, because I always Mac put like red stuff on Max's leash and collar and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So that was a really cool personalized project that was, it's cool. It's sentimental. It was expensive. Uh, like
Yeah,
that is a
yeah.
lot more than I ever thought I would spend on. I guess I shouldn't call it a flashlight, right? It's supposed to be a torch.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a torch. You know, I
No,
don't.
tell me, man, tell me, because you know what? Like every time I do a video on like these things, right? Like I
Uh,
always
uh,
say, like I'm not sure. Is it a
I'm not
torch or is it a
sure where
flashlight?
I'm not sure where the line is that it goes from a flashlight to a torch. I think it's
Is it
just a
if it's a
torch,
stream light, it's a flashlight. If it's made of
maybe, and if it's a custom,
titanium,
it's a torch. I don't really know. If anybody knows definitively in the comments, let us know because I screw that all up too. I think it sounds goofy when you go torch. It makes you sound like you're snobby and you're highfalutin and you put your pinky up when you drink your tea.
mhm.
But I don't know. I carry a flashlight from Yellow Day Energy, so I don't know. It's an expensive flashlight slash torch, but I love it.
Yep.
You're gonna
Oh,
love it. They're super bright. They're super cool. Um, yeah,
well, and I know like the performance is going to be great, right? Like I keep hearing that, and I know like he builds his stuff nice, but it was just like a way to personalize it in a way. Because if I know, for
I think
me,
you're right, Luck.
that's probably the last time like I'll want to like go that crazy on a flashlight. So I know I'm going to keep it. So
Yeah,
for
for
me,
sure.
hey Detroit.
Detroit Spartan in the house. Damn, he hasn't been around in a while. He's too
So
busy with his new job.
oh
Never hear
man,
from him anymore. He moved, and we barely ever hear from the guy anymore, man. We're in a group
he's
chat.
here
He
now,
never
man.
chimes
He's here
in
now.
anymore. He's busy out there making that money and building that golf course, man.
Nice,
I guess I'm just
nice.
gonna have to make a trip to Austin and or Dallas area. I don't remember. It's in Texas somewhere, and then I could see him.
He's down there being the $1 million man.
He's down there freaking doing his thing. So good on him for, plus he got married. So he's
Oh yeah,
newlywed. So
oh
he
yeah,
busy. He
yeah.
busy. It's okay. Austin area. See, I was right the first time. I second guessed myself. What the hell?
That's awesome. Congratulations on the newlywed situation thing. That's pretty cool. And may it last forever, man.
For sure.
Yeah, I love my wife, but it's new for you now, but later, maybe in a few years, you'd be like pain in the ass. But you love her.
I'm not gonna go there.
And your wife's gonna
Been there and
say,
done that
you're a
twice.
pain in
So
the
don't
ass,
take my
but I
advice.
love you.
Don't take my advice, dude. Like you're asking for the wrong person in relationship advice. So
In all reality, my wife is the best thing that ever happened to me. So, like, yeah, just don't ever let her forget that that is how you feel, and it'll last forever as well. That's more real advice
there you
instead of
go. And he'd been
being
married
a
for a long
jab.
time, so I would take his advice. Been there,
Yeah.
done that twice, so don't take mine.
But sometimes it's just not finding the right person, too. It's not all about like how you do it. There is some compatibility stuff, but yeah,
Yep.
I'm no expert. I only did it once, and so far never again.
So far, so good. There you go. Yeah, don't be like me. So.
And then there was another thing I got,
Oh, that's right.
the unplanned thing that I just did out of, I don't know. I wanted something in Baker Forge, Damascus. And actually, like we could can you do that thing where you could probably pull this thing up on the screen?
Which thing?
The amphibian in Copper Damascus.
Oh, that one you sent? Let me see if I can try
Yeah.
that while you talk. Let me see. I gotta open
Even
a
if you
tab.
Google that thing, it'll pop up because they're still out and about for sale. So I've had this stupid thing in and out of my cart because Microtech is doing this line of copper, Baker Forged copper Damascus knives. They come in three different colors, actually. You get blue, you get like kind of like a violet purple, and you get like a straight up like black. So I went with the black one because that is the most neutral. But yeah, this thing is pretty cool. So another reason why I chose this knife is because Dirk actually talked a lot about this knife. So I actually kind of like bought this based on a
This
little
is
bit
probably
on
not
Dirk.
the exact one that he got, but it's like because they're all very unique, right?
Yes,
So
but they're all pretty much like this, and that's the
yeah.
correct etched one, because there's three different etch colors, and that is the one that I got. So that is the knife that I got, and I actually got it cheaper than that. So good on me for not getting it at Blade HQ.
Yes,
No,
that was
my
just the first one that came up. I know you bought it from Jordan
yep,
over at
NC
what is it?
Blades.
NC Blades.
Yeah,
Yeah, I knew him back when he was just Jordan selling stuff.
yeah. Well, and he has cool stuff. Like the stuff that he picks is always pretty good. And then he really got me following his website because he became the main guy for CKF knives in the US since that whole Russia war broke out.
Yep.
So, because CKF couldn't sell their knives from Russia, so they would send them to Jordan, and then Jordan became kind of like, and still is somewhat, CKF USA.
Yes.
So I follow him specifically for that, but he has a really good collection of like Microtech and Marfion stuff too, and a bunch of other like cool production knives. Not just the
Mhm.
little fancy pants stuff, but you know. So yeah, I got that knife. I hope it's cool. I've never handled a Ramlock knife before, so um,
You know, it's cool. I really like the amphibian more than the stitch. Just my preference. And sorry, I got the crud going on, so I don't know what's up with that. But I really like the amphibian and the black carbon fiber with the black blade. I should have bought one at Blade West, not last year, but the year before when they were going for sale and they were hot. I should have bought one and I didn't. Um, I've seen a couple of them go for sale. I've almost bought them, but the fancy pants ones are super cool.
yeah,
Aussie Mike
yeah.
bought one of the fancy ones also.
Oh, did he?
Yep. I think it was even more than yours though, because it's Damasteel blade with is it Damasteel? And whatever it's maybe a Sam. I don't know. It's a Damascus some sort of blade. I don't remember now. I
Well,
did the
his
video.
his might be like a full on Marfion. Like
Yeah, his a
mine.
full on Marfion, and then it's DLC coated over, so you can.
Hmm.
So it's like dark, but you can still
Yep,
see the pattern because
yep.
DLC you can see through if they do it light. So it came out super cool.
But Microtech does, in my opinion, the best like black DLC. And they really did a cool one with the Shadow series, like that SOCOM I have.
Yep.
Like it looks under like certain light, it looks like there's no coating on it because it just looks like dark, and you can see the metal coming through like silver. And then when you rotate the blade, then the blade looks black. It's really cool how they do their stuff. But yeah, Microtech does tend to use
Yeah,
Vegas
Vegas Forge.
Forge in their stuff, but they actually are making a lot more Baker Forge Damascus stuff. There's a Combat Troodon. There's
Mhm.
the Scarab they have in that now with the Copper Samurai. There was a lot of knives that they did like
Bigger
that.
Forge is like the hot thing right now. Like that
Yep,
custom chef knife that I had built for my
yep.
son's wedding was some Baker Forge Firestorm Damascus. So yeah, Baker Forge is pretty cool. I do have one fixed blade with Baker Forge stuff that Ozzy Mike gifted me. One of the ones he bought and just told me to. Actually, I shipped it to him, and we use a freight forwarder when I ship to Australia, so it goes from California to Florida. They repackage it and then put it on a ship or whatever. He actually had them take it out of the box and then turn around and ship it back to me because he decided to just gift it to me or whatever. So I do have that. I think that's the only Baker Forge that I own. Although I paid for the chef knife for my son, so I kind of own it, but I gave it away, so I don't own it anymore. But yeah, Baker Forge is cool stuff.
Well, that's for me, I was actually not into the whole like Baker Forge thing for a while because I've had copper like handled knives before, and when you have copper, it has a smell to it.
Yes.
You know, it's one of those things that corrodes like heavily. So for me, like I was like, you put that on steel, like unless there's some way to seal it off, like I don't see how this would be like cool. It would be cool for the first week, and then after that, it start changing weird colors but ended up being like I've seen these knives hold up. So I don't know like if they like put some sort of coating or what they do to it to seal them up. I think I'm still gonna end up getting some of that knife wax stuff and put it on there just to be safe. But yeah, I got that too, man.
I don't do anything with mine. Let me grab it real quick because it's right here. I probably should do something with it, like to protect the blade, but I don't do anything, so I don't know. And this has been out. I sent it to my buddy Eric in Utah, and he took it out camping and used it for the whole weekend, whatever that he was out. He carried it and used it and whatnot. So it's got
pretty nice, man.
On it, but yeah. And the lanyard, we put the lanyard on because the way the sheath comes, there wasn't a lot to grab. So I figured, hey, I'm not a big lanyard guy, but for this, it like you can grab it with stinky and stuff, and it gives you something to pull out. So
I'm actually surprised how shiny it looks, man. That it's been stored. So that's cool. I wonder how they
store it in here. I've never put anything on it, nothing. It just like it's in the drawer, or it's with Eric camping. He's my outdoor tester guy. He's got my Rockstead fixed blade right now. That he used on elk hunt, and he asked me, he goes, hey, do you want me to just leave it in my backpack? Do you want me to wear it? I go, dude, just pretend it's yours and do whatever you want to do with it. So I think he put it on his belt and he just carried it. He did not get an elk, so we don't have pictures and video of him field dressing it with it, but on the next trip, hopefully he'll bag one, and we're going to get some pictures and video of using the mirror polish Rockstead fixed blade to field dress an elk out on a hunt. That's going to be so cool. Like, I can't wait for that to happen.
Sweet. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, because I just don't care. I mean, if it gets scratched up, it gets scratched up, whatever. How bad is it going to get? It's not going to get destroyed on one elk. Like, I mean, and if it does, and it bugs me, I can always send it back to Japan, and they can refinish the blade for you. They'll charge you, but it's fine. If it bugs me that much.
Yep.
We'll just see what it looks like. And if it's got a scratch or two, like my RJ Martin, it's not mirror polish, but it's like almost. And it's got a few scratches on the blade. I just don't care. I use it. It's fine. Same with the Rockstead. Like, they're not museum pieces to me. So I told Eric, just carry it, wear it, do your thing. Don't even worry about if it gets scratched up or not. And I mean that wholeheartedly. If I ever loan anybody a knife, because I do loan them to other people, and I tell you to use it, literally just use it. Alex might have one right now that he should be carrying, but he doesn't. And that's okay. You don't have to carry him, but just carry it. It's just a knife. I don't really care. Just me.
Well, I'll carry my nice stuff that belongs to me, you know.
You can carry the nice stuff that belongs to me too. I don't care. It's all good.
I actually like this blade shape a lot, man. It cuts really nice. This has
Yeah,
been a
it's
good
cool.
one. It's kind of heavy because it's brass, but
Yeah, and it has a little bit of a like brass has a little smell also almost.
so this one, like I have owned for probably long time. I've had this so probably a year, maybe. I don't remember. I don't know if you remember when I got this, but it was a while
Maybe a
ago.
year ish.
And I've never like polished it or anything. Same thing. This one doesn't have a
Hmm.
smell or anything, so it's been doing pretty good. I
That's
wonder if
cool.
it's like the way they finish it or something. I don't know.
What's up,
Because
Gary?
I've had some brass stuff that like turns nasty too.
Yeah, that's why I generally stay away from the copper stuff. Like, there's a copper Hellraiser, like
Mm.
the production one, where the whole scale is full copper. And I never wanted it because it literally smells like pocket full of pennies. Like, I don't deal with that. I've done videos on it and stuff. It's cool, but I'm like,
Oh,
yeah,
was it the brass one? The
the
brass
brass
one.
one. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
brass.
I
And it's
remember
got a
that one.
smell to it and stuff. And I just I don't like that. So
Yeah,
that's just me.
yeah. Nick asks if Robert's
Nick,
still popping on. I'm gonna probably say
I'm going to say
no.
no at this point because we're almost done. It was
Yeah,
not clickbait. We did talk to him yesterday. He said, sure, no problem. And here we are. We don't know what happened. So we did send him the link and reached out to him before the show. Didn't hear. So, yeah, we don't know. We'll have him back again. This happened to us the last time we had a guest, too. We had Jim Skelton coming on,
yeah, that's
and
true.
Jim had technical difficulties and couldn't join for whatever reason. So I don't know. Alice says, so hard to bring myself to use some knives, but you got to enjoy them. I gotta say, I'm one of those crazy dudes that buys two of some knives. You're not the first person that I know buys two. A lot of my friends buy two, one to keep nice and one to carry and use. Um, there's no right or wrong way. Like, if you want to buy a knife and put it in a display case above your fireplace, buy the knife and put it in a display case above your fireplace. I don't care. You enjoy it, you bought it, you can do what you want.
Yep.
I am just more of the opinion of I'm just going to carry them. And I think maybe part of it is I want to be different and I want to carry a 5-figure knife because everybody else is scared to. So I just do it just to prove a point. And when I say everybody else, it's not everybody. The King Battle that I bought from my friend Tristan, he was carrying it quite a bit before I bought it from him. So there are some of us that do carry really high-end knives, and we don't care if it gets scratched up, it gets scratched up. Like, that's just my mentality, and that's not to say that I'm not Richie Rich or nothing. Trust me. But I just buy it and then I use it. If it gets scratched up, it gets scratched up. I can always send a knife back to the maker to have it refinished if it really bugs me.
Yep.
So,
That's the
which is
cool
fine.
part about like custom knives, you have that ability. When you go play in the lower end spectrum of knives, like production knives, it gets a little more difficult. And you got to go to like a knife modder or pimper to fix or modify your knife so that the damage goes away, which I've done that before, which works cool too.
And this is a good comment from my friend Gary. I think a lot of the time it's the fear of not being new and maybe recouping money if you go to sell it. I don't generally care about that stuff. So,
About that
yeah,
stuff.
a lot of people are like, I just saw something for sale today. I don't remember what it was. But he's like, I'm the second owner and it's not been ever carried or used or cut anything. And I'm like,
Yeah, right.
well, why? Like, are you sure the first owner never did? They're not investments. Okay. When I buy the 5-figure knife, it's not an investment. I don't think it's going to go up in price. I'm going to carry it and use it. And if I get about the same, like some of the stuff I buy, I should be able to sell for about the same price, even though I spent 5 figures. like a Todd Rexford that I owned for a while. Like I should be able to sell that. I did, and got the same money basically. The King Battle, I'd probably get about the same money. The non-flipper that Alex has that he's borrowing, I could sell and get the same money, maybe a little more. Like some of the things I've negotiated and gotten a deal, so maybe I'll make $500 on something, but it's right in that range. I'm not going to buy something for like $5,000 and turn around and be able to sell it for 12,000. That just doesn't happen.
I mean, it can, but
it can, and there are some things that do that, but
not for the most part.
For the most part, that doesn't happen, and so don't look at them as investments, because even if you don't carry it, you don't cut it, you don't do anything with it, you're probably not going to get the same money later anyway. I've seen that knife stuff kind of is, you got to time it right.
Yep.
I did sell something and made a bunch of money one time. Twice. Once I made some money, and the second time I made more money. One was the Holt Spectre. Those went crazy at one point. And if you had the right timing, you could sell it for double or triple what you paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was a Shark Nivco Ryu. And those ones at one point were going for 4 or 5 times what you bought them for. If you bought it at table price, you could get 4 or 5 times what you paid. So, yes, when I sold my Shark Nivco Ryu, I made some money. I made less than what the market was bearing at that point because I wasn't going to be that guy that charged premium plus, but I got a little below what the normal market was because I made some money and I made, whatever. But generally speaking, that takes a lot of work to like time the market almost, kind of like buying stocks or crypto. You got to time it to sell it at the right moment. And that's never been my time. Whenever I buy crypto or anything, the next day, I can guarantee you, if you want a crypto to go down in price, just tell me. I'll buy $50 worth of it, and it'll be super cheap tomorrow. I promise you. Doesn't matter what one it is. So if you want something cheap, just let me know ahead of time. Send me $50. I'll buy it, and you can buy it for probably $50 less a coin tomorrow. That's just how it works with me in crypto. But over time, I have made a little bit in crypto. I'm not retiring, but it just sits there. I've got some money that just sits there and kind of goes up and goes down and goes up and goes down. And in 10 years, I'll cash out when I do retire, and maybe I'll get what I put into it. Who knows? But yeah, don't think of knives as investments. Just carry them, use them.
Yeah,
like I hope EDC is doing with his twin knife that he won in the 10,000 subscriber giveaway. Which, if you're not subscribed, why not? To me or Alex. I made a post the other day where there's, I don't look at the stats super often, but I do every once in a while just to kind of see what different stats YouTube has. And one of them was 73% of your views are from non-subscribers. 73%? Wow. So if those 73% would subscribe, jeez, I'd have a lot more subscribers, let me tell you. I just think it's one of those it's one of those things that makes you go, But if you're not, go ahead and subscribe. And it's my birthday month. So if you want to contribute, I do take donations. I can put a Amazon wish list together if people want to buy stuff. Although some of the knives I want aren't on Amazon wish list, but you could donate to my birthday knife cause if you want. I'm not opposed to that. Just throwing it out there.
Amazon be like a send cut, man.
Right? I could put a bunch of gun stuff on there.
I'm gonna find a knockoff of a Hellraiser.
Oh, dude, they're probably out there. I haven't really seen any, but that doesn't mean they're
haven't either.
not. There is I believe it's on Amazon. There is a knockoff of the Battle, the Frank Fisher Battle.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a knockoff on Amazon, and I know somebody that bought one just to check it out. They were going to send it to me. I said, I don't know about sending it to me. I mean, like, but so yeah, there's knockoffs of most everything out there. You got to be careful. Buy from reputable online things or reputable people that you know from Facebook and whatnot, or reach out to me. I might know people selling some stuff. I've got some stuff here to sell. I still have to post up. Like, I sold a Hellraiser for a guy. I've got a Brian Ty integral. I don't think it's the TIE Fighter. It's called something different, but with a Damasteel blade, that's for sale. And a full custom Peter Martin that's for sale. That's a beautiful knife. So yeah, oftentimes I sell stuff for people, and I think somebody's sending me a watch to help them sell. Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical, I think.
Oh, those are cool. I have one of those.
PVD coating, but it didn't look like it in the pictures he sent. So I'm just going to wait until he sends everything, because he might have misspoke which model it was. It's a Hamilton for sure, and it's all blacked out. So it actually looks pretty cool. So he's going to send that in. I'll do a video and then try to sell that for him. He wants to trade for a knife, actually. So, but yeah, I can help you out with that stuff too. If you want to buy or sell something, especially if you want to sell something, I've had pretty good luck selling other people's stuff. Better luck selling other people's knives than my own knives. When I try to sell my own, they seem to sit. When I try to sell other people's, they sell pretty quick. I don't know. It's a weird thing. But yeah.
Sweet.
So I think that wraps us up. We don't know what happened to Robert Carter. We will reschedule him to come on. Like always, let us know in the comments if you know of somebody you would like to have us have on, whether it's a maker, a retailer, maybe it's some collector that you see on Facebook, and maybe we could get them on. Like, we don't know. Maybe. I'm open to everybody and anybody for the most part.
Yep.
So if you have somebody, and if you're watching this after the fact and you've made it this far in of our nonsense today, give us a comment so I know that people actually watch this stuff tomorrow and next week and whatever. Like, that's kind of cool too. But we did have
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa.
I don't know about that, but
I know somebody that might actually have a connection with him, but I doubt we're big enough for him to come on. But I do know a guy that dealt with him on some stuff, so maybe. What was I saying?
Cody.
We have done a video with Robert Carter before. He has been on, so you can check out my EDC Hour playlist, and you kind of scroll through, and you can find the episode with him on it. Cody Ulister. Yeah, maybe. I think I just did videos on him recently, actually. Somebody sent it.
Yeah, the duckling.
The duckling, that was it. Yes. Yeah. And I think the duck is the one that was the bigger one that I would like better. So at some point I'll probably check that out, the duck, because the person, Patricia, who sent in the duckling, also has the duck, I think. So she's going to probably send that in. Cool. And then the other one that was Jesse Giraz.
Oh, yeah.
He was cool. And like, his knife was cool. I had the M75, I think they called it. And I hear that the M100 is really the one I would like because it's slightly bigger.
Oh, so, Princeton Wong from Prince Customs. That's not a bad idea, actually. I've talked to him before.
I have done a video on his before. I tried to talk to him at California Custom Show last time I was there, but he was busy on the booth because he's in Southern California somewhere. So that's a good one. Yes. So yeah, there's some people we want to have on. It's a timing thing. It's a scheduling thing. It's, but yeah, we'll get people on. Oh, he's in Houston. I thought he's in LA.
No, I don't remember. I thought he was in the
I
East Coast, but
I don't know. Well, I liked his knife, although I didn't like everything about his knife.
I like some of his older stuff quite a bit. And then Jim did like one on his Swan, which was like a really crazy carving type, like weird looking pivot type knife. So,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, that's actually a good idea. I'll maybe think about swinging him a message.
Cool.
Well, my daughter is
Oh,
throwing a
well,
fit. So.
I guess if you live 15 minutes from his shop, then he must actually be in Houston, and we're just full of it here in LA. I don't know why I thought that then, but okay. So Joe, you can hook us up and tell him we
Yeah,
want to have him
yeah.
on, and tell him Alex is going to reach out, and we're going to figure it out.
Sweet.
Joey's my man. He just sent me a couple of knives, which may or may not be for sale. Also, speaking of selling other people's stuff. We don't know yet. There's some news in Joey's family that he said he may end up selling the 2 knives that I have from him. So more to come on that. I got to do the videos on them, and when I do the videos, we'll figure out if we're selling them or not. So, which will be good. I got to film these so I can send them back to him or sell them, so that I can send him the flashlight that he won from the 10,000 subscriber giveaway also, because it's been sitting here because he told me, hey, I got some knives I'm going to send you, so don't send me the light I want from Yellow Day Energy. So yeah, the torch has just been sitting in the kitchen area with the other stuff that is to be sent out at some point. So I would really like to get him his light, torch, whatever it is. So there you go. Let's wrap it up on that because we're just going to ramble, and we'll just move it along. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We do appreciate it. We'll be back in a couple of weeks, and maybe we'll have a guest. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll try to have a guest, or maybe we won't try to have a guest, and we'll just have a guest show up. I don't know. You never know what you're going to get from us. Thanks, guys.